Okay. Are we doing it? Are we live? We are. Excellent. I might have been a couple minutes behind, but just a fun little thing. Hi, Summer. Welcome in. Welcome in, early birds. Peep, peep. I gotta figure out what I say to people at the start of... I really do, because it gets worse, like, every time I try to come up with something. Meeks! Hello, hello! Welcome in! How are we doing on this lovely Friday evening? It is still Friday, right? Alizine, hello! Mr. Zeke, hi! Oh, a Miko raid. Hey, I'll take it. How are we doing? I'm gonna maybe point this down a little bit more. We've got a new setup here. I've got 2 monitors now. But can we hear me okay? Is my audio all right? Everything? You say you're no degree required, you're a Christian, you're here to teach atheist. Well, I want to say something that's true. You don't teach anybody anything. Why is God's word an awful book? Well, I'm referring to the Bible. There is no God, so there's no book of God's word. But the Bible's an awful book in a multitude of ways. Contradictions, inaccuracies, atrocities. I like to go with that. The CIA, as I've coined it. Do a little ASMR. Go watch my VOD with me and Joel eating really gross on mic if you want to do that. About to take a nap. Well, enjoy your nap. Hopefully. Okay, it's connected to YouTube chat, but YouTube chat is very quiet. What? Okay, I've got to restart TikTok. I'll be right back. YouTube, it was restricted on TikTok for harmful behavior. Like the most mild-mannered criticisms. Interesting. Yet, people will use full-on slurs, and I'll report them, and TikTok will be like, no violation. Hannah Grace, hello. Meeks, wow, it was so nice of Robot Goat to raid me. Maybe they heard raid, and they're like, oh no! I don't know. Either way, hello to people over on the YouTubes. How are we doing over there? It's pretty quiet on that front. Happy Friday. Thank you, Hannah, and a happy Friday to you as well. Let's see. Hello, Ms. Mojo. Welcome in. We're gonna get this restarted, hopefully. Glad the week is done. Yeah, me too. I have probably a busy weekend ahead of me, but that's alright. It's mostly gonna be just taking care of shit that I've been putting off for forever. So we'll see if I actually get chores done and the house cleaned and all that fun stuff. Hey, Nathan. It is a pretty trash book. Yes, it is indeed. Good self-care time in a way. Yeah, I suppose so, in a way. That is something I need to work on. Hence my zit and greasy hair. We're just gonna ignore that for now. It's a little past wash day. It is a very boring book, Nathan. You're right. There are some parts that are like really, really interesting, like fun little fairy tales, and then it just drags and drags and drags. Thank you for sharing the live Cake Against the Machine. Incredible username. Um, Thank you, Summer. Yes, welcome back. But I'm in a new different setup. My camera's positioned between two monitors now. Ooh. The endless begats are thrilling. Yeah, I need to know who fucked who and produced a child. My hair isn't greasy, it's Jolie. What are you saying about my hairline? Eee. Who is gonna beget? I need to know. Why did I just get a notification? Please don't be something bad. Okay. You're saying Joel is greasy. Oh. He might not like that. You're embarrassed you believed it for almost 47 years. Well, I believed it for like 17. So isn't there egg on both of our faces? Thank you for sharing the live, Hannah Grace. I appreciate that. Let me make sure. Yep, no, YouTube is just very, very quiet. Could someone in YouTube say something just so I know that my chat plugin is working? Appreciate y'all. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Ian. Thank you for sharing over on TikTok. Hashtag FYP. Well, 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 well. Little ol' me. Hi, Anti-Theist. Good to see you. This is so strange. It's completely empty in the chat over on YouTube. Hey, Bryn, how's it going? You stubbed your toe, Varric. Ugh. That's proof that God's not real. Speaking of which, if I have anyone who wants to request up, there is currently no line, no wait. Woo woo. Hey! Now we got a YouTube chat. Woo! Mezzo raid? Was Mezzo even live? Okay, just making sure. Okay, good. Okay, TikTok chat is working over on YouTube as well. I see some of y'all went over to YouTube. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm Roga Gaga Goats. That's me. Happy Friday. Is that username pronounced Cry Poo? That just describes what I did after I got home from work today. In order. Hey, Lobes. Good to see you. Fridays are a very quiet day at work for me, so I also get to come home just a teeny tiny bit early, which is nice because I get to like just barely scrape by and avoid rush hour traffic, and traffic where I am is horrible. So, always a blessing to avoid it when I can. Hey, Jeffro, how's it going? Oh, you got new pajamas. That's cool. I don't think I've gotten like a new set of pajamas in a while. Well, my grandma gave me some for Christmas, but they are, what's the nicest way I can say it? Really ugly? PK Heathen says Christians love that horrible book because it allows them to do anything and have a justification for their awfulness. I can kind of see that. What's the commute time? Usually about an hour. Hello from Indiana. Well, hello, Maisie. Thank you very much. PJs that are gender affirming. Well, I do wear boxer shorts as pajama shorts a lot, so does that count? But yeah, I feel like Christians do like to use the Bible to justify things, and they'll really, really stretch the meaning of the text too, right? So they'll read a passage that's like God's gonna punish you for your sins because you're so horrible, and you're only deserving of torture and blah 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 blah, and they're like, oh, he's gonna forgive us. That's so nice of him. Oh, someone briefly requested and then dropped back down. You wear thongs, ex-bastard shorts all the time. Well, hey. You do you. Wear them thongs. And other things we say on the Robot Coach stream. You're on YouTube and TikTok. When you see my eyes going back and forth, so TikTok is over here, YouTube is over here. So I'm looking. Ooh. I've never had a 2-monitor setup like this before. The only other time I had a 2-monitor setup was when I had like a DIY voice booth. And so I had a monitor in there, but I couldn't really like functionally use both at the same time. So I have so much display to look at now. Like I am very overstimulated. I should have Subway Surfers playing over on the side of one screen just to be sure. Have I read the Bible, honestly? Are you asking if I've read it at all or if I've read it honestly? Because both are yes. 3-monitor setup. Whew. I mean, that does make sense if you're a software dev, but wow. 3 monitors. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Variak, hello over on YouTube as well. What are my issues with it? That would be contradictions, inaccuracies, and atrocities. Did I get restricted because of the acronym I said? Did they think I was talking about the federal agency? Name them, Patrick. There's like hundreds. Do you want just like a couple of my favorites? Name some contradictions. Okay. Yeah. One contradiction would be that it says in John 3:13 that no man has ever ascended to heaven except Jesus, but in the Old Testament, Elijah ascended into heaven, and he's not the only one. It also says in Acts and Matthew, one version of the Field of Blood story says that Judas was already unalived, and then the priest took his money and bought the field. One version says that he bought the field and then unalived. So it's who bought the field and at what point did he unalive. Where does it burden women alive? Leviticus 21:9. That would be the example of one of the atrocities where God says that the daughter of a priest, if she profanes herself through promiscuity, should be burned in the fire. And there are writings of the Sanhedrin that say, yeah, this law is kind of an issue. Not because of the whole burning women part. We're fine with that because they were doing it wrong. They were burning women at the stake, but what we want them to do is to put a wick down into the women's throat and intestines, and then light that wick and burn her up from the inside. That way it doesn't affect the outside of the body that much. So not great. Oh, it's short for cricket poodle. Oh, that's adorable. I'm so sorry for asking if it was cry poo. I feel disrespectful now. May Cricket's memory be a blessing. Like a Yankee Candle. Yeah, pretty much like a Yankee Candle. Hey, Namaki.
Hello.
Hey, Cole. I know we've talked before, but just refresh me on your age and pronouns.
I am 21 and he, him.
Sweet. All right, Cole. And just double check over on YouTube, you guys can hear Cole okay?
Hello, 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 hello. Mic check 1, 2.
The signal won't delay, but the cable. Sorry, everything is a reference to me. That's the only way that I can process anything. There's a huge delay. Well, as long as you can hear him. I understand there's a delay between platforms, but I just want to make sure you guys can hear.
Mic check, mic check.
They can hear. Great. Love that. Wonderful. So, Cole, we've talked before. You are a Christian, correct?
Yes.
Still,
I mean, I am a universalist and stuff, but I mean, yes, I'm still a Christian.
yeah, I mean, you're
We,
getting there, but we gotta see if we can fix that, right?
I'm
So
also a preterist, which everybody always tells me is like the exit ramp to theism. So I mean, I don't know. That's what they tell me.
maybe,
Not
maybe
there
a little
yet.
bit. So what made you want to request up tonight specifically?
Well, your prompt says, "Why do Christians believe in an awful book?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, my answer to that would be one of two things. I mean, just because a book does have quite awful things in it doesn't mean that there can't therefore also be truth in it. Would you agree?
I would agree that being awful doesn't necessarily make it untrue, but it is both awful and untrue.
Well, I mean, I would say that there is some stuff in it that isn't true, but I mean, I would say that there are books that exist. Like, I'm sure there's a history book written somewhere that all the information isn't 100% correct on, but does have correct information.
Yeah,
So I mean,
so but we know that the Bible doesn't have correct information.
the Bible is correct on some things. I mean, it's not
If you're
completely.
very, very broad, if you're like, yeah, there was a nation known as like Babylon. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But
I
things
mean, like,
like the flood, or the creation story or the Exodus, like none of that happened.
I mean, the flood and the creation story aren't necessarily meant to be taken literal. I mean, they're
Some people say that, some people disagree. Um, what about the Exodus? Is the Exodus supposed to be figurative?
no. I don't think the Exodus is true. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
Cole, I remember
but
kind of my frustrations last time where you're kind of just going off of vibes. You need to be looking into evidence for the things that you believe. You need to figure out why you believe what you do. There's just I don't know it doesn't really make sense to just be like, yeah, well, some of it's not true, but I'm going to believe the book anyway, even though the God that like commanded these women to be burned alive is the same one that I say is all loving. You know?
well, I mean, I don't think God commanded those things, though. I don't. I mean, so I mean,
Yeah, how do you choose what is the word of God within the Bible and what is not, other than just what you like and don't like?
well, I personally don't think any of it is divinely inspired. I think it's just a book, a
But you're
history
a
book.
Christian.
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I mean, it depends
So
on who
you
you
don't
ask.
think it's true, but you're a Christian.
No, I don't think it's. I do think there's true things in it, just because I think there's true things in like science textbooks too,
Yeah,
but I
there's
don't think they're
true
divinely
things in
inspired.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Do you think that Abraham
Yes,
Lincoln hunted
I don't think it's divinely
vampires?
inspired. No.
So just because there are some things that might be true in the book, does that mean that the book itself is true?
I mean, like that's the thing is,
Like
I
what's
don't
the
think the
what's the
Bible.
core message of the Bible? Cuz that would be the most important thing to determine whether or not it's true.
The Bible isn't univocal. It doesn't have a core message. It's different books written by different people at different times with different agendas.
I'm not claiming univocality, but there is a core message of the Bible.
I mean, like, it's the attempted history of the people of Israel and the relationship that they think they have with their God.
Okay, if you want
The
to divide
thing,
it up by Old and New Testament, you can. What's the core message of the New Testament?
I mean, that Jesus is the Messiah, that he's some sort of divine being in some abstract
Yeah,
sense.
okay.
That,
So that would be an
uh,
important thing to investigate the truth of, whether or not Jesus was Messiah, correct?
yes, I would think so.
Okay, so what's a good way to investigate whether or not Jesus was Messiah?
Well, I mean, like, the people who wrote the New Testament believed he was the Messiah.
Okay,
And I
and
mean, that was who it mattered to.
Okay, yeah. So every author of a religious book believes that what they wrote was true.
Yeah,
That
but
doesn't
if
make it
the
true.
yes, but the author of the New Testament is writing to its audience
We don't know
about
who
what's going
authored
to
most of
happen.
the New Testament.
Yes, but whoever the author is writing to their audience, telling them things that are going to happen in their generation.
What? That was a completely irrelevant point to what we were talking about. We were talking about whether or not they
No,
believed in
yes, I'm
Jesus as
saying it was
Messiah.
they did, and it was important for them to believe Christ was the Messiah. It was not important for anybody today. He
Okay.
was their Messiah.
Okay, so is he or is he not our Messiah?
No,
Okay,
no,
then you're
he
not a
was their
Christian.
Messiah. I mean, like, that's the thing is, I am a Christian, but I'm
If
not
you
a.
don't believe Jesus is your Messiah, then no, you
He
would
was
not be
the
Christian.
Messiah. He's not my Messiah.
Okay, so you're going to go to hell because of something you can't help.
I'm gonna go to no. Hell
Well,
doesn't
if you
exist.
don't have a Messiah, oh, hell
Hell
doesn't
doesn't
exist.
exist.
Okay, Cole, yeah, you're just making up your own fucking fan fiction.
No,
And it
I
gets
can.
increasingly frustrating the more I talk to you, where you're like,
No,
hell isn't
eh,
real, the Bible isn't true, but it is history. They believed it was true, but it's not actually true. Jesus is Messiah, but not for me. That's incomprehensible, strung together.
no. Look, let me try to explain it. Look, Jesus' mission was for the people of Israel in the first century. He makes that very clear. He did not come but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and there's plenty of time statements in the New Testament where Christ is talking to that generation. So the message only matters to the people in the first century. Really, nobody has
Okay,
to believe it now.
so stop believing it.
Why? Why? Why don't I do that?
You just said it's not important to us anymore because we're not in the first century.
That doesn't
So
mean that you
stop
can't
believing in
believe
it.
it.
Why would you? You're not in the first century, it doesn't apply to you anymore. It's not true anymore.
Um, I mean, like that. That doesn't. That's a non sequitur, I would say.
And not
Just
really. You
because,
said you said it applies to the first century, so we don't have to believe in it anymore. Okay, great. So stop believing in it. There's no utility if it doesn't apply anymore.
yeah, just because there's no utility doesn't mean somebody cannot therefore believe what it says is true.
Yeah, I would say it's unreasonable to believe something that is both untrue and has no utility.
Well, I do believe it to be true,
But you
but
said it
just
doesn't
not have
apply
utility.
anymore.
Yes, that just
So
because it.
it's a belief that has no truth and no utility. Why do you continue to believe it?
Like I said, I do believe it to be true. I do not believe it to have
You believe
utility.
what to be true? That Jesus is
As,
not your Messiah, Cole?
no, I believe that he was the Messiah for the people in the first century.
So Jesus is not Messiah to anyone except people in the first century. You don't believe in the Bible as the divinely inspired word of God. Cole, you have no fucking religion. I don't know how to break this to you. And this is not me trying to be like gatekeepy. You don't believe in any of the teachings of the religion you claim to be a part of.
But I do believe like we should love our neighbors and like
That's great.
God
That's
and
not
stuff.
Christianity.
Yeah, Christianity was a
Christianity didn't
messianic
originate
movement in the
that
first
idea.
century.
Christianity doesn't hold ownership of that idea. Loving your
I'm not saying
neighbor
it does.
is not Christianity. Christianity is the belief that Jesus is your Messiah who died for your sins.
Is but Christianity was a messianic movement in the first century for the people of the first for the Christ
Okay, so
disciples.
Christianity doesn't exist anymore, Cole? Is that your new claim? Christianity doesn't even fucking exist?
Not like in the way that you think it does, in the way that it did for the people in the first century. No, that Christianity doesn't exist anymore.
All right, great. You're no longer a Christian. Congratulations. I get a tally. I'm fucking done with that. Cole, when you have a belief, you're welcome to come back up. But it's so frustrating to talk to you and just have you change your beliefs every 10 seconds. G-Force, holy fuck, thank you for the galaxy. But yeah, it's just very frustrating to have you just be like, never mind. Jesus isn't actually my Messiah, and Christianity is no longer a thing, and the Bible's not real, and hell's not real. But I'm a Christian. It's all completely contradictory. Anyway. Yes, that is a tally for me. I'm going to count it as 2 just because he was annoying. Oh my god. Did y'all watch on Joel's live last night? That guy, Carson, I think his name was, who came up and told that long ass story? It was incredible. If you guys haven't seen that, go watch the VOD from Joel's live last night. This guy came on and he told this like rambling story that had no connections to anything whatsoever, and he was claiming that it was a story of a miracle he experienced. And after like 20 fucking minutes of him telling us this random story with like every unnecessary detail, it turns out that the miracle was he once met a guy with a last name Titus, and then years later opened a Bible to the book of Titus. That was the miracle he experienced. I am not fucking kidding. So go watch Joel's VOD after the stream. Because I laughed so hard. He made us sit through all that. He's like, oh, I was gonna go to baseball camp, then I went to this men's conference, and then my sister had a rodeo, and then I was dating this girl. It's like, what the fuck? Dude. None of this has anything to do with what you're trying to tell us. Amazing. Next up, we have someone who just has the 100 emoji. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Cole, 19, pronouns, guess we're going with he/him today.
Another Cole! Cole, you're gonna be Cole too, just so we don't confuse people.
Hey, that works for me, no problems.
Alright, so, what is your religion or lack thereof, Cole 2?
I guess I'm a Christian, Southern Baptist.
Ooh, that's what I used to be.
You went to church growing up?
Oh yeah. I not just went to church. I was a Christian growing up.
Oh, like real deal, like Sunday school, all that?
Oh, not just Sunday school. I was full on. First of all, I believed in Jesus as my Lord and Savior. But beyond Sunday school, I did worship choir. I did like youth leadership group. I did the like chapel band.
Dude, that's sick. Yeah.
I went on mission trips, touring around with our church show choir, dancing for Jesus to underprivileged communities. Woohoo!
That's awesome.
Could have just like given the money that we spent to go on that trip to those underprivileged communities to help them build up their infrastructure, but instead we got to feel good about ourselves and go to New Orleans. So why do Christians believe an awful book?
Well, how are we classifying this book as awful?
So we open it up and then we read it.
No, I'm asking like why you classify this book as awful.
Because it is. It's full of contradictions, inaccuracies, atrocities.
Well, can you cite me what you're referring to?
Of which of those?
Just any of them.
Okay, let's go with atrocities. Let's go with God condoning slavery.
Okay, can you cite me the verse for that?
Yep, Leviticus 25, 44 through 46.
I gotcha, and what does that read?
I'll paraphrase, but it says, like, as for your male and female slaves, which you may have, it's from the nations around you, that you may take your male and female slaves, as well as the foreigners, who reside within you. These may be your property. You can pass them to your children as an inheritance. But as for your fellow Israelites, no one is to rule over the other with harshness.
Is this Old Testament or New Testament?
It's Leviticus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't read the Bible. Is that Old Testament or New Testament?
Oh, Cole. It's Old Testament.
Okay. So, this is like Old Testament law, correct? Or
yes.
like Old Testament preachings. So all that's fulfilled with the coming of Jesus.
So what you're saying is...
on Christianity.
That was in the Old Testament. We don't read the shit
Correct,
in the Old Testament.
correct,
I'm not even sure
correct.
why it's still in print, but that's a
That's a
dickish
dickish
God.
God. The Old Testament.
Sure, he told you how to keep them slaves. And
Correct.
yes, he commanded you to kidnap babes. Only one small tribe were his personal things, but no one worships the God from the Old Testament. Do they? Do they?
It's
that what-
actually a different God.
It's a
The
different
God some
God.
of the
Oh, you're
Israelites worship is different. Yeah, I mean the
you're like a
rejection of
you're a
Jesus
Gnostic.
entirely implies that.
You're a
I am
Gnostic.
actually, yeah, well, somewhat. I was raised a Southern Baptist, but I am somewhat Gnostic. Yeah,
So you believe in like demiurge.
yeah, and all that. Yeah, and like
Interesting.
the divine spark,
So
everything
like
like that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
how do you rectify when in Matthew 5 Jesus says that they should keep all the old laws?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I just ignore that and move past it.
Oh, okay, that's a great way to like build your faith.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't have to just base my faith purely off what the book says. I mean, I can take my own interpretations.
Yeah, I mean it is the words of Jesus, the one that you claim to worship. But to just be like, seems kind of odd.
Yeah, I'll concede that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so Jesus on multiple occasions affirms that they should keep the old laws. The old laws condone slavery. Jesus never condemns slavery. He does tell the slave masters to be a little bit nicer to their slaves, but I would say that the nicest thing he could have told them to do is to let them go.
Yeah, it's probably fair. Do you feel the same way about like the Quran or the Talmud as you would the Holy Bible?
Yeah, well, but I wasn't Jewish or Muslim for
No,
most of my
completely
life.
fair. Just
Yeah.
just making sure you're consistent. That's it.
Yeah, no,
understand.
I do. I definitely especially critique all the Abrahamic religions, but since the Bible, I mean, I went to a religious school as well, so I had mandatory
Yeah.
Bible classes every day, studied apologetics all throughout middle school and high school. So I'm very well versed on scripture. That's why I tend to talk about what I know rather than what I don't. Because I've read it a whole lot, so that seems to be a difference between the two of us.
Yeah.
Maybe read
All
it a
right,
little
cool.
bit
I got
more,
what I
and then
wanted
maybe
out of
you,
this.
like me,
Adios.
can. All right. Well, he was still on the stream. I should have just let him stay up. Where did you run, oh Christian? Hey, Matt. Welcome in.
Hi.
Hi. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
You can call me Nana. I am an adult. I don't want to say my age, but I promise you I'm a grown ass woman. You can go on my page.
All right.
And my pronouns are she, her. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got to read out from Devil's PD, which I'm going to guess is Devil's Public Defender. Can we designate this guest Cole 1 and make the first one Cole 0 for better memory efficiency? It would have been funnier in the future. Anytime a Cole comes up, I'm just going to preemptively name him Cole 1. Just in anticipation of subsequent Coles. But Nana, hi. What is
Yes.
your religion or lack thereof?
Lack thereof, sis. I came up here to. So I have. It's not that I've ever had religious trauma. I was raised as a cradle Catholic. I like Catholicism in the sense that it's very camp. I love beautiful churches. I like looking at it because it's pretty. But the actual teachings of the Bible are obviously like
Yeah, I was gonna
psychotic.
say, what
They're-
does the
no, no,
P
no.
in camp stand for there if we're talking about Catholics?
Right. Is that, wait, what is it? Protestant?
No, it was like a joke about what they do to
Joke?
children.
Oh, I know. You're absolutely right. Actually, the reason I was like, wait, I thought camp was a term used in like jest, but no, you're right about that. But besides that, I actually came up here to talk to people like you because I heard you say that you used to do missionary work. So my family's Nigerian. I grew up around a lot of people who are white evangelicals who come and preach, to poor communities, baptize Black African children in the name of Jesus. And even as a little girl, I always thought it was so disgusting. I didn't have the words to explain what I thought was weird about it, but it truly is just like another vessel, in my opinion, of white supremacy. I think there's something to be said that the people who colonized my people, right, specifically the British, the Anglican Church, and then, the Catholics, whether they were the Irish, or alongside at the time with the Queen. I forget which one. But there's a lot to be said that those countries are way more secular. And now the country of my origin is extremely religious, dogmatic, that has very vicious anti-LGBTQ laws. I'm not saying like this is because the Gen Z and younger millennials are a lot better on these things, but my country, my family's country, is completely run by religious zealots. They have way more social and political power than even religious people in America. Like I would say like how the South is, but like times five. And it's horrible because they weaponize this religion to extremely poor people, right? People who are living with abject poverty. So I grew up upper middle class. I'm very privileged. I have an educated mother who's a doctor, who's still very religious, but not to the extent of what I've seen over there. And so it just, slavery ended. I know this is very like crass to say to some people, but I still think it's a form of mental slavery. I'm the direct descendant of a very powerful chief who worked alongside is my great-grandfather, my maternal great-grandfather, the British. In literally 1903 is when my ethnic group like mass converted to Christianity. So it wasn't even in the 19th century, in the 20th century, in the beginning of the 20th century, it went from like 15 to 20% of the population being Christian to by the end, right? Once the transatlantic slave trade had ended and then the British colonial rule had really dug in and began, by the end, but the beginning of the 20th century, everyone who was Igbo had mass converted. And at that time, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I just really want to get this out. It's like therapeutic to me.
I do, if I could have a moment to respond when you're done though.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. No, the point I was making is like everything back then, becoming a Christian was like learning how to speak English. It gave you certain privileges, and now like I feel like those people like forget that's like a tool of colonization. I had a grandmother who lived to be 102. This is the last thing I'll say, and then I want you to go. And she refused to learn how to speak English, and she refused to become Christian. So she was ostracized in her community. She was called a witch, a pagan. Life was really, really hard for her. Me and her were relatively close. Until the day that she died, she kind of refused. She kind of, at the end of her life, faked it so that one of her younger sons would talk to her. Like that's how deep rooted, and like you wouldn't talk to your own mother because the local priest told you that your mother was a witch. Who taught you that? You know what I'm saying? So these types of things, for me, more than anything else, that's why I'm like, I obviously don't believe it. I think it's obviously ridiculous. I understand why it was useful in the past to some degree, but everything wrong with like the country that I love, which is Nigeria, and the way that my society thinks, how misogynistic, how anti-LGBTQ, how regressive in many social policies they are, I can, at least where I'm from, directly to Christianity. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, we definitely see the rise of certain ideals because of like Christianity and because of the way that encroaches on other cultures. I mean, there's the forced assimilation into a Christian culture. It has such long-reaching effects. I mean, even in the idea of like a strict gender binary, because we see in like older, more ancient cultures, in indigenous cultures that weren't Christian, they had like a range of gender identities. They were accepting of many different types of expressions. But then when we see those that were like colonized by Christianity, typically they adhere to a much stricter gender binary. I do agree that the mission trips that happen, they are often a form of white supremacy. I would say it's definitely a form of white saviorism.
100%.
And along with that, it's poverty tourism. It's going to, like I talked about in my own experiences, because I deeply regret doing these things when I was younger. I just didn't know any differently because I was literally a child.
Of course, it's not your fault.
But going to these places and being able to be like, oh, but look how much better we have it, basically.
Yep.
Like we would do things that would be like temporarily helpful. Like one of the ones that I went on, we like distributed these like water filters to an area that had like a high rate of waterborne illness because they didn't have access to a clean water source. But instead of us each spending all the money it took to like fly us out there and go on these mission trips, we could have just donated to their city's infrastructure to try to improve like their sanitization, so that they didn't have to worry about the water, you know, because there was probably like 50 of us on that trip, and it was like $1 or $2 a piece. So imagine the good we could have done by donating 50 to 100K to the city to improve on their infrastructure instead of just sending a bunch of kids out to be like, here's a water filter that'll work for a year.
100%.
But to us,
And
it's like, look at what a good thing we're doing. We're spreading the
oh,
word.
the ones I find the most insidious would be like there were groups, I'm forgetting which Catholic charity, and because I have like some Catholic charities do so-called good work, but it's always with the caveat that you become Christian, right? Like there were Catholic charities. And my family's upper middle class. We were very wealthy back home. But there would be Catholic charities that like, if you convert, will help you. If you don't convert, you have to be baptized or you have to give your life to Christ for them to do these wells, create these institutions, do anything to help people. If you didn't do it, they wouldn't help you. So ironically, there's still people who proselytize in the North, which is majority Muslim. And I feel the same way about Islam. I have, that's a conversation for another day. But they would go up there and like only you would have like Muslims pretending to be Christian so that they could get access to things from Christian missionaries, right? Because they literally wouldn't help unless you promised to give your life to Christ. And I'm sure there are people who, no matter what your religious identity would do.
We didn't do that. We helped anybody. I'll say that much.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
But we did preach to everybody.
Of course. And the last thing I'll say, the church I went to, and I've been an atheist since I was like in 6th grade. I kind of like, it's like an ongoing joke in my family. My mom always jokes, or she doesn't joke about it. She takes high offense to it because I will always like throw in a joke when she starts praying or something. I can't help myself because I think it's ridiculous, right? We went in Nigeria. The pastor or the priest, excuse me, of the church that we went to, and I'll just go with my family, just as a family thing. He's like an Italian man, and the Jesus Christ that's up on the wall is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed man. And I went to an upper middle class or like very wealthy church. Everything is class-based in Nigeria as it is in a lot of developing nations. So we're talking about really wealthy politicians. We're talking about very educated people who live overseas half the year and then come back, doctors, lawyers, engineers, people in that bracket like my parents. And I just nobody was weirded out by the fact that this country that is like 99.999%, black at this point, racially black, that the Christ on the wall is a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man, and then the pastor or the priest at a church in sub-Saharan Africa is a white Italian man. And I'm going to say, like, he did learn how to speak Igbo. Obviously, I'm not going to dog the priest as an individual. It takes a lot to learn an indigenous language and to, I guess, live your life there. But something about that was very unsettling to me. And I wish that, like I said, I think it's a form of mental slavery. And when you talk to people, it's one thing to be uneducated and not know these types of things and not recognize it. But like I said, these are educated people. And it makes me so uncomfortable that nobody is weirded out by it. Nobody seemed to care. Some people, I would go as far as to say that it was their preference, right? And the irony, like I said, is in the countries that did this to us, their rate of religiosity is like in the 30%, while Nigeria is like one of the most religious places in the world. It just breaks my heart. And I'm really sad that I don't think it'll change in my lifetime. I wish there was like some sort of like enlightenment era in Nigeria to like break people from this mental, I think only education and the reduction of poverty is going to be the thing that does it, because it's just like, it's so deeply ingrained in every part of my society. And it's the thing I hate the most about colonialism, the thing I hate the most about, it's like I can deal with everything else. I can deal with the history. I can deal with how much pain and suffering people went through in the past, even though, it's obviously horrific, but it's like all of my friends, they all have internet. They can all look things up. They all have access to a lot of them, not everyone, let me be very clear, and they're still religious. It's like, I don't know what it's going to take, and it breaks my heart. But yeah.
I absolutely understand why. Well, Nana, thank you for coming up and talking with us.
Thank you so much. Sorry for my rant.
No, I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your evening.
You too. Bye.
All right, next up we've got Minister Michael. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Minister Mike, he, him, hey, you, and over 30.
All right. And what is your religion or lack thereof?
Christian.
I'm sorry. Why do Christians believe an awful book?
Well, I wanna talk a little bit more about like transgender and some of those issues that you feel like um Christianity is transgender youth and how you feel like Christianity is causing some sort of extra burden in
What
society for these types of individuals.
what the fuck? When did I say any of that?
You were talking about genderism. You were saying that
I didn't talk about
Christianity.
transgender youth whatsoever, though.
Well,
I haven't had
you
a
mentioned
stream on
genders.
trans people for like 2 months.
No, you didn't say trans. You just mentioned genders. I
Yeah,
assume because
that
you said
Christianity
binary
adheres to a
genders.
strict gender binary. So why are you
Right.
just like, so trans children, huh? Like what? What?
No, I'm not saying just trans. I mean the whole spectrum. I would like to kind of dive into that. That's an area that I have some experience in, but I'm always interested in being sharpened a little bit more about why do you think Christianity is somehow toxic and dangerous for youth struggling with that?
When did I say that?
You mentioned that
Yeah, what I
Christian
said was a
cultures,
Christianity adheres to a strict gender binary. How does
and
that?
is that a bad thing or a good thing?
I would say it's a negative thing, but toxic to people
But why is it a
struggling. I
negative?
never made those
Why is it negative?
claims.
Why is it a negative thing?
Yeah, it's negative because adhering to a strict gender binary, it causes people to feel that there are certain traits they're supposed to have. It forces people to try to express themselves in a way that's inauthentic. Um, it's been used historically to subjugate women. Those are just a
So
couple of
when you say
ways.
gender, binary gender, you mean like gender roles, or do you mean like gender identity?
Well, a gender binary, like believing that gender is a binary concept.
So how are people being subjected in a binary concept society?
Yeah. So, for example, how the president of the United States made a decree saying that there are only two genders, male and female, which is like inaccurate for a multitude of reasons. That is instituting a gender binary. In
Is that toxic or bad? Or I'm curious.
Yeah, once again, yes, because there are many more genders than that. Gender is a bimodal spectrum. To constrain it to a binary, it leaves out an entire range of identities between. It also is kind of like disrespectful to all the cultures that have historically honored alternate gender identities. So,
So do you feel like by not honoring cultural gender identities outside of that binary, is that bad? Or is that
I think that's disrespectful to those cultures, but my main problem with it is that we know that gender is not a binary, so it is untrue.
by gender is not a binary, you mean like people's personal identity is not binary? Or do you mean like morphically, like their body is not binary?
That would be sex, not gender. But
Okay,
sex is
so when you're
also
talking
not a binary.
okay, so when you're talking about gender, you're more so speaking about a person's personal choice.
That's what, well, not personal choice. You don't choose your gender.
You can't choose your gender.
No.
So do you like this is good for me to learn. So do you find your gender or how
You
does
can
one
you
switch
can
genders?
investigate your. It's like you don't choose your sexuality, right? You kind of
So you
discover
can't
it
choose. So you're
through
enslaved to your inherent sexuality. You can't choose it.
enslaved to.
Well,
That's
I'm
a
more
very
I like to
strange
believe
way
in
of putting it. Am I
I like to believe in
enslaved to
free
having
will.
blue eyes because I was born with blue eyes?
Well, perhaps some people change their eye colors. They might feel such a way and change their eye colors. And so I mean saying so you are you
Okay, am
saying
I
that
hold on, am I enslaved to be a white person because I was born white?
some people change their skin color to be more white and some people change it to be more brown?
Can you like
So my
engage with
question is,
me on
can
an
you
honest
choose?
level? If you're a minister, you're like really dishonest for a minister.
How am I
Obviously,
dishonest
having
for saying
certain
you can
immutable
choose?
traits, that does not mean that you are enslaved to those traits. I'm tall. Am I enslaved to being tall? No, I
I mean,
just
I can feel
am.
enslaved to being short sometimes. I'm not that tall. So
Okay, well
I
that's
might
great for you, but you're not actually enslaved to it. It's just a trait. It is a trait
so
that
what
you
is it?
have.
I can't change it. But there's things I can change, like people can change their color, they can change their gender, I thought, and change their sexuality. You're saying they can't
They
change their sexuality.
They don't change their sexuality. They can discover new information about their sexuality. That's not changing their sexuality. Your sexuality is just
They don't get to
based on who
choose.
you are attracted to. You can't choose who you're attracted to.
So they don't get to choose their sexuality or their gender.
You didn't listen to anything I just said.
I'm summing what you just said, that they don't get to choose their sexuality or their gender.
Yeah,
They
it
can
is.
only
It
just
is.
search
It is
it out.
something about themselves that they can discover through investigation, through looking
So
internally.
where does it store it? How do I know I found it?
How do you know you found it? Well, that's tricky because for some people it can be a lifelong process.
So when do I know I found it?
You never know with 100% certainty. That's the fun part about being a person. You are constantly changing. You are discovering new things about yourself. How boring would it be to be the same person for the rest of your life?
But I can't. I can go back and forth, but I'm not really choosing what I am. I'm just searching.
Yeah, you're not choosing. You're discovering new things about yourself. Like, for instance, if no one's told you yet, I could be the first to tell you that you're like really obnoxious and bad at trolling.
Yeah, see, I
That's a
believe
new
it's a
thing you
choice
can
that
learn
I
about
can
yourself.
change. I believe I can choose my sexuality if I wanted to. But
Okay, so
it's
could
interesting
you
that you're saying
choose?
that I'm
Hold on.
enslaved
Could
to
you
my
choose to
sexuality.
really want to fuck your own mother?
Is that a sexuality or a gender?
I mean, it's a form of sexual.
Which one is that in the spectrum?
Well, like I said, sexuality is based on who you're attracted to. So if you really
So
want to
which
fuck
is
your
that?
mom,
Is that another letter? I don't remember learning about that.
could you choose to want to fuck your own mother?
Is that one of the letters or choices?
I'm trying to
in
see
the
whether or not you can choose who you're sexually attracted to. Sexuality is who you're sexually attracted to. So, Minister Michael, are you going to engage honestly, or are you going to continue to be a little pussy?
Well, I mean, you could choose anything you. I mean, I believe you could choose anything you want.
Could you choose to want to fuck your own mother?
People have done it. It's sad.
That's not what I'm asking, Michael. Can you engage on that question? Could
Can
you
you
choose
listen
to
to my
really
answer?
want to fuck your own mother?
People have chosen to do that. I don't understand.
Okay, the way
point.
you're saying this makes it sound like you already do.
I mean, you're.
So
you're
do
getting
you
off
want to
track.
like
So I'm
answer
asking,
the?
So do you get to
Oh, that
choose-
was suspicious, Michael.
do you
Michael,
get
that
to
was
choose your
that was
sexuality or your gender.
suspicious. If
or
you
not?
can't choose to want to fuck your own mother, then no, you can't choose your sexuality.
So
So
you can tell someone has run out of leg room when they use extremes of this nature. But again, I've already answered.
I might
People
run
have
out of leg room
already
because
chosen.
I'm tall. So that
Well,
happens sometimes with us.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
but
That's
could you
fair.
choose to want to fuck your own mother? Because if not, then that means that you can't choose who you're sexually
Red-
attracted to, so you can't choose your sexuality.
Red herring and illogical.
I do have red hair, thank you, but that's not a red herring. So what I'm investigating is what I'm investigating, Michael.
Someone has chosen that
Michael,
already. Someone
what I'm
someone has already made that choice.
I would argue they
The
didn't
question is, can
choose.
you
I would argue
choose
that
your
they.
sexuality?
I would argue that they didn't choose that. I'm asking you, someone who
You don't think so?
presumably,
So what happened
Michael,
in those
I'm gonna have to mute you
situations?
because you won't shut the fuck up and let me finish my sentences. Could you, someone who presumably does not want to fuck his own mother, choose to want to fuck your own mother?
Anyone can choose to do anything, including with their sexuality.
So you
I'm trying to
could.
understand
That's
why
what you're
you
saying.
say
You're
that
saying you could choose to want
people
to
choose
to
do it.
earnestly
Why don't
be
you
sexually
hear about that?
attracted to your mother. Could you choose that?
Is sexuality a choice or not? Or is it not a choice?
That's what I'm trying to investigate by asking you. Can you choose
Well,
to be sexually
You
attracted
can
to your
use-
mother?
You can use a more accessible analogy. Can you choose to be attracted to an animal?
Okay, could you choose to be sexually attracted to an animal? Yeah, could you choose to be sexually attracted to an animal?
People do. It's their choice.
I'm not asking if people can. Can you? Could you choose to be sexually attracted to an animal?
People choose it. Are you saying that they didn't choose it?
Michael.
Is that what you're saying?
Michael, who am I asking about? Other people? Am I asking about Joe
I
fucking
could
Schmo down the
make-
road?
I can
You
make
personally.
Any choice. I can make any
You
choice. to do
could
anything.
choose to be earnestly
question
sexually
is-
attracted to an animal.
Is it innate? So people who do it, is it in their gene?
Michael, answer my
Is that what
fucking
you're saying?
question.
I already answered it. So is it in
No,
their
you
genes?
didn't.
People who do that.
You,
So is bestiality
Minister Michael, you have one
a
more chance to answer my
stance
question before I
in their
drop
genes?
you.
Why
You
can't
have
you answer my
you have
question?
one more. You have one more
Why can't you
chance
answer-
to answer my question before I drop you, Michael. You personally, could you choose to be earnestly sexually attracted to a non-human animal? Answer me directly or you're going to be leaving my life.
Earnest. What do you mean by earnestly? Why is that necessary to be earnestly attracted?
All right. You know what earnestly means. You're a fucking coward. Yeah, he was choosing to be lame. Yeah, I love how animal was more accessible to him. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yeah, I'm 21. I'm him. And then what did you want?
What should I call you?
You could call me him.
What?
You can call me him.
No, like your name.
It's Giovanni.
Great.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about the last thing you were talking about. You were saying that you don't choose your attraction.
Yeah, are you gonna try to bring up like kids? Because that is like a psychological disorder that is treatable. That is not a choice. That's why there are people who would rather like chemically castrate themselves because they can't get away from those impulses. So that itself is like a psychological disorder. So I would also say that that's not a choice, right? That's a neurological disorder.
Okay, yeah, but how is it not justified using your logic?
How is it not justified? Because children are incapable of consenting.
Okay, why is consent why is consent justified? Like why is that a justification?
Why is consent a justification? Because without consent, it is rape.
Well, okay, well let's say they consent.
They cannot consent.
What do you mean?
They are children. They are incapable of consent.
Is that a law? Is that a thing we just put into play, or?
Oh my fucking god. I said one fucking word and I get restricted. Sorry, repeat whatever dumb thing you said.
So what do you mean by they can't consent? So you're telling me like they can't choose between yes and no?
No, so we're talking about in a sexual context, right? Like fairly obviously. So like children, if they're asked like, do you want chicken nuggets for dinner? Sure, they can say yes or no. But children are incapable of understanding.
Okay. Why? Hold on. Why? You have to break it down. Why are
Sure.
they?
So let's go for the facets of consent, which is kind of, it sucks that I'm having to do this with you because you are an adult, so you should already know what consent is by now. But have you heard of? No. Have you heard of the Fry's method before?
No, I haven't.
It's a method of determining consent, and I'm not surprised you haven't. So first one is freely given. Maybe a kid says yes, I would argue because I don't understand, but okay, maybe the F. So R would be like revocable, reversible. Okay, maybe. Let's go with informed. Can children give informed consent to sexual encounters?
I'm not familiar with that is.
You don't know what it means to be informed?
Informed? Like what do you mean informed consent? I don't know what informed consent means.
That tracks.
I mean, if you're just gonna appeal to like to authority, then you're just gonna be using fallacies. But like, I mean,
yeah, no, it's not.
It's
not. It has nothing to do with an appeal to authority. Informed consent. Informed consent just means that they are capable of and actually do understand what they are consenting to.
Okay, that's all you have to do. You don't have to make some like a bitchy face.
You don't like my bitchy faces?
No, I mean, it's just like, because like usually like people in your type of category, like they'll see that and they'll be like, oh yeah, you're getting kicked. And like, it's just an appeal to authority, which is like, you know.
Okay, thank you for whining about people that aren't me. So, informed consent. Are children capable of understanding, especially if they haven't had like sex ed yet?
But why
so
is this
like,
a justification?
What?
And why is this a justification?
Because if they're not informed, then it wouldn't follow the Fry's method. So by that measurement, it would not be consensual.
Okay, wait, hold on. So if I'm not fully like informed of what a mortgage is, but I concede and I sign, does that mean I didn't really consent? Can I use that like an appeal of like in a rule of law? It's like I didn't fully understand.
Do you think that's analogous?
I mean, yeah, it works. I'm using the logic laws that you're applying.
Why do we not let children sign on mortgages?
Because we have a specific age that the government.
Why?
I don't know. Whatever the government chooses to have a certain age. I don't know.
But why does the government choose to have an age?
Because they put laws into place, so they whatever their subjective
No,
opinion
that's
is.
circular. Why have a minimum age to be able to legally sign off on a contract? Why is that in place?
I don't know.
What's the reason behind that? Can you take a guess at why that might be? Because I think if you're being honest with yourself, you know why.
No, I don't know.
It's because we recognize that children are incapable of understanding certain concepts and making certain decisions.
Okay, and for the ones that can.
For the ones that can, are you like really? You're really desperately trying to like justify sleeping with children. That's kind of gross.
I'm not.
Quick super chat from Optimus Rhymes. I know these guys are just trying to get a gotcha, but it makes them look like you want to do these things when you won't condemn it. It's weird. I'm inclined to agree, Optimus Rhymes.
These people don't know what moral ethics are, so obviously I sound like a rapist to them.
Well, you didn't know what informed consent was. That's what makes you sound like a rapist to me.
So not knowing, wait. Yo, again, so not knowing a question makes you seem like a great.
Not knowing like a basic part of consent.
Guys,
Yeah.
not knowing.
And
a
also
question.
how hard you're like trying to argue against the necessity of consent.
No,
Like, that's
I'm
just a
sure
little
it's
strange.
well, hold on. I'm just trying to use. Well, hold on. What's your epistemology? Because I'm just trying to get the justification.
I fucking knew that was fucking coming. Oh, you're so glossary. That's why you're so bad at arguing. All you do is read the fucking. You're like, oh, that word looks pretty.
Well, no, hold on. You don't even have any justification for your reasoning. You're just saying because.
I'm not letting you pivot to that. I'm not letting you pivot to
because,
that. You talked about a mortgage. I asked you, why do we not let children of a certain age sign off on mortgages? And that's because we recognize that children are not capable of understanding certain concepts and making certain decisions.
That doesn't matter. We're talking about informed.
Yeah, it does
consent,
matter because if they're
okay?
incapable of
Hold on.
understanding it, then
We're
it's not
talking about
informed consent.
Okay, is there always informed consent when somebody signs off on a mortgage?
If they are an adult and they have the opportunity to read through the contract, they are mentally capable of understanding it. They're given the
Okay, so hold on.
opportunity
You don't think there's
to understand it. They are signing off on a document guaranteeing that they understand it. Those are the only guardrails that we could reasonably put in place. What other thing would we? How else would we test whether or not someone understands something?
Hold on,
Give them a mortgage quiz,
know,
Giovanni?
I don't think this is a good reasoning. So
You don't think it's a good reason?
yeah, I don't think that's a good reasoning or justification. Because then, if you would have to uphold all these things and laws and shit. So I
would have to
highly
uphold
doubt
laws
that.
and shit? Yeah, you're right. That makes it so difficult for me.
No. You would have to uphold information consent, whatever you like to call it, and all these laws that I guarantee you wouldn't uphold them. I guarantee you.
That I wouldn't uphold informed consent? How so?
Yeah. Okay, again, because if I don't fully know information, then I'm not able to consent, right?
If you are given the information to read, given time to read the information, and sign off on a document stating that you have read and understood the information, there is
but you
no
can just lie,
other
though.
reasonable means to test whether or not you understand the information.
You can just lie, though. So
Giovanni,
they still don't
I
have moral
understand
consent.
that, but there is literally no better way to
So
test
they
whether or not
don't
someone
have moral
understands something.
consent. They don't have.
Giovanni, there is
don't have
no
moral
better way to test whether or not someone understands something than giving them the information, letting them read the information, and letting them sign a document stating they have read and understood the information.
Okay, so just
What
to be
other
clear,
way would you suggest?
I don't know. I'm not making the argument that this is an invalid thing. You are.
You just said that my method of giving them the stuff
Yeah,
to
I'm
read,
using your method,
having
not
them
mine. This
sign
is
that
not
they
my method.
understood.
This is not my
You're
method. It's
critiquing
yours.
mine. Do you have a better solution, or what about mine
No,
falls
no.
short?
Don't burden
What
shift.
about
Don't
mine
burden shift.
falls short? The fact that we
Don't
can't read
shift.
people's fucking minds,
Don't shift.
Giovanni?
Don't shift.
I'm not shifting. I'm
Okay,
asking
so
you
people-
what part of my suggestion falls short under, because you're saying it doesn't work, it's not enough. Well, what does it lack? Short of literally mind reading.
So yeah, it lacks the truth that we actually fully understand that these people that are signing off actually truly know the information consent.
And what way, other than having them read and sign off on the information, could we
I don't know.
possibly
I
know
didn't
whether or
make the
not they
argument to put
understand
that
it?
into play. I didn't make the argument to put
Short
that in
of
play either.
literal mind reading, there is nothing. This is the most reasonable means we have to determine whether or not someone understands something.
You know what? I'm actually losing brain cells, but I need to go eat my food. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
disturbing because you don't have many left.
I don't have many what?
Brain cells.
Oh, I mean, you have a lot of brain cells because you be eating a lot, but
How do you think brain cells work? Okay, bye. Wow. You tried really hard on that one, buddy. Yeah, you're smart because you're fat. What? All right. Thanks. Hey, user, thank you for the money gun. I appreciate that. And YouTube, hello. It's been a while since I've checked in. We've gone from like 6 viewers to 48. Hello, thank you. Heaven's gonna be full of Giovannis, and that's why I'm cool going down to hell. Only smart people eat food. That's true. Because you'd have to be pretty dumb to never eat, because then you would not survive. The goat emoji looks so cute on YouTube. Ah. Jason DeBateman, you weren't in the fan club. That's okay, I forgive you. As long you are now, though, right? You are now, though. Which reminds me, while I've got y'all here, look at this! It could be a little bit bigger, though, like I always say. Andrew Z channel with a super chat over on YouTube says, thanks for teaching grown-ass men about consent. You're welcome. I hate that it keeps having to happen. Hi, Dr. Joe. It's good to see you. Toadboy, you started your new job Wednesday. That is exciting. Wonderful. Well, it is great to see you all here. If you are not already following me, you should fix that. You should fix that right now. Oh, thank you for the level up sparks, Dr. Joe. And if you're not subbed over on the Play Button app, you should be as well. Teehee. I hate that I did that. Ignore that. Also, I got a Discord server. You can join it through my bio. I should just stop making sounds. You know, it's funny that someone made a comment about like my bitchy little face earlier, because I was talking to Rat Soup. You guys know Rat Soup. And he was like, yeah, I don't think you have like a resting facial expression. Which I, to some extent, agree on. I'm so expressive. I have no, like, poker face. Anything that I'm thinking you're going to see on my face. It's always been a problem. And, like, customer service jobs, my boss will be like, you just look, like, really unhappy with the customer sometimes. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's not even, like, the Gen Z stare. I just have no resting face. If I had a resting bitch face, maybe? For the link in bio, you gotta copy it and paste it into a browser. I'm sorry, that's the only way that TikTok works with the link thing. It doesn't like to go to it through its own browser. It has to go through another browser. But it does work. Oddwin Oddball over on YouTube with a $5 super chat. As a 52-year-old grandfather, I don't use or support corporal punishment, but if I had a child as misogynistic as Giovanni, I might have to reconsider. Holy shit on. You went hard on that one, and I love it. Look, you know, that was definitely misogynistic. He was definitely, like, holding back on saying some things that he was thinking. But yeah, it's part of the reason why I don't want to have kids, because they might turn out like that guy. Ugh. I can, like, push a child out of my body with, like, excruciating pain, and then, like, nurture it and raise it for years and years and years, and give it so much love, and try to teach it up, and try to raise it up, teach it to be like a moral and an ethical person, and then it could turn out like that. My cats, never gonna try to argue against consent. Never. Mezzo and Joel really need to get horizontal. Hey, your words, not mine. Dr. Joe, thank you for subbing over at the Tube. We used to treat men so nice. He could work a 40-hour and have a boat, a bike, a house, 3 kids now. Yeah. I was thinking the other day, I'm just like, God, you used to be able to support a family on a single income. And, like, own a house, go on vacations, live comfortably. And now it's like, do I really want to pay $5 for a can of beans? That's what we've gotten to. Ew, nasty. And it's because of am I going to get into a little bit of political ranting? I think I'm going to get into a little bit of political ranting. We have this tiny group of people that are hoarding such an immensely disproportionate amount of the wealth that the vast majority of people in this country are suffering for it, to the point where they're barely getting by. More than half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We have no savings. We don't even know if we're going to be able to retire when we get older. We could work our entire lives in the American workforce, contributing to the economy, contributing to our community, to our society, making it a better place, like contributing taxes to our country, and then we're not taken care of when we get older. We will have very little left to us. Ooh, sorry. It's so disheartening to young people, and I'm counting myself as part of that group, to have such an uncertain future like that. To not know whether or not we're going to be able to take care of ourselves when we're older, despite being willing to work full-time for the majority of our lives. Yeah, that's right. Things are supposed to get better, not worse. We are a generation that is, like, measurably worse off than the ones before us. I was looking at, like, housing prices, and I came across this, like, terrible little dirty falling apart trailer that was being sold for, like, $300,000. And I looked at its initial purchase price, and it was purchased in the 90s for, like, $57K. So it's like a 30-year-old house that was originally bought for $57K and now is over, like, well over $300,000 on the market. That's the sort of thing that we're facing right now. Like, I'm working full-time. I'm working multiple jobs, technically. This is, like, a part-time job for me. It's not, like, I'm not getting, I don't want to, like, complain about money. That seems weird. This is not viable as a source of income for me at the moment, which is fine. I'm not trying to make it be that way. I enjoy doing this, but I am working an 8 to 4, a 9 to 5, and then I come home, I stream, I'm doing freelance voice work on top of that. If you add up the amount of hours I put into streaming and work and freelance voice work throughout the week, it's close to, like, 60 plus hours a week. And I'm still not super well off financially. I am kind of getting to the point now where I can comfortably pay all my bills on time, which would be, like, awesome, but I'm not really able to eat nutritiously. I definitely don't live, like, luxuriously. There are a lot of things in my life that are, like, barely working. Like, I have my iPhone. I think my iPhone, I kept calling it an 8. I forgot I upgraded, so I think this is a first generation SE, but my phone is very old. My headphones are falling apart. They're, like, 5+ years old now. Every so often I, like, upgrade to nice things. Even my new fancy setup was, like, a $50 desk and a $50 monitor, and that was, like, a huge splurge for me. But I'm like, well, I'm gonna invest in, you know, upgrading the quality of my stream. But, like, the fact that I'm working so many hours per week and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm still not in a place where I am financially comfortable is very frustrating. And I know some people will say, like, well, you know, in your 20s, that's kind of how, like, things are supposed to be. But I went through college to get a STEM degree, and there's the job market is shit right now. Like, first of all, I wanted to be a park ranger, and that's fucked because the current administration gutted the national park system. So, like, the job I went to school for is just no longer accessible to me at all. I mean, that rug was pulled right out from under me almost the moment I graduated, because I graduated August 2024. So then in November, no more National Park Service jobs. It's a really, really difficult situation, especially as someone who despises Trump. To just feel like, this is a shitty situation that I put in, that I tried to do everything I could to not be in this situation. I tried to do everything the way that it was supposed to be. It feels like I've entered into this social contract and the society is not keeping up its end of the bargain. And I feel like that's not a super uncommon feeling among young people right now. I feel like a lot of people are probably, you know, similarly disillusioned with the American dream. And that's why we do see so many people who, you know, are starting to make content, who are speaking out about this sort of thing. Sometimes this feels like the only way that we can have a community that, like, sees us and knows what we're feeling and relates to us. That's part of why this is so important to me. I felt really, really frustrated, and I'm like, I need to speak out about the things that are bothering me, and I don't really know the way to do it. So that's what these streams have been for me. So thank you all so much for supporting and listening to me. I know I kind of just went on a very long-winded rant, but that is something that consistently bothers me. It is, it's such a shitty time right now in this country. The goal of other Republican Party is to privatize everything. Yeah. And we see where privatization leads to. We see how medical care works in this country. We see how prisons work in this country. When profit is prioritized over people, everyone loses, except for the billionaires. That's just the way that it is. But those are the billionaires who have the money to lobby for everything to be privatized. It's almost a genius system. I still hate it. But it's this repeating cycle of they have enough money to get more money. And so they just do that repeatedly. Anyway, all my complaining and grumbling aside, oh, I still have Giovanni up as my guest on YouTube. Sorry, guys. That's not true. He fucked off a while ago. I'm also a little sniffly because it's allergy season here. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to sniff too much, but I don't want to blow my nose on camera either. Alrighty.
Alright.
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
You over 18?
Yes, I am.
What pronouns should we use for you?
You can use the pronouns I'm and him.
Okay, well, that's gonna get really confusing.
No, I'm just being facetious. I'm sorry. You can use he, him.
Never had a bidet. I think that's what Forrest Valkai says on the line. Said, America is a fraud, so fake, now we're just another fascist shithole. I agree. So, Mark, are I'm a Christian?
Or I am a Christian. Yes, I am a Christian.
Oh, okay. How long have I been a Christian?
Okay. I've been a Christian since I was 4 years old, but not technically.
Okay, so were raised in Christianity, but I didn't like always believe.
Yes.
Got it.
In a sense.
Okay, in a sense. Well,
Yeah.
what do I mean by that?
Well, because I still believed I was still a theist. I think that the atheist position is actually impossible. Like it's not impossible to even predicate about it.
Are you?
Because think about it like this. So think
Sorry,
about it like
are
this,
I
right?
on like a subway or something? I hear a lot of like clunking and stuff in the background.
Yeah, I'm in a car. I'm in my front car.
But not driving, correct?
No, of course not. No, no, no.
Just got to make sure because I can't drive
Of
on
course, for
live.
TikTok purposes. For TikTok purposes, I understand.
Okay, so why do Christians believe an awful book?
Well, I think the burden of proof is on you to demonstrate that it's an awful book, because I don't take the position that it's an awful book. So
Sure. So I would say it's because of the contradictions and inaccuracies and atrocities. Which one of those would I like me to elaborate on?
yeah, elaborate on what an atrocity is and how you can epistemically know what that is.
Oh, unfortunately, I'm as a glossary. Everyone, we've got a glossary in the house.
No, it's just a basic, simple question about how you know what terms mean.
Yeah, no, I understand what I'm saying. It's just like that's not really a question that like engages with the critique of scripture. So it's kind of a burden shifting thing that a lot of people use when they don't want to have to like defend their own faith. So they try to like attack atheism somehow.
If you're positing a system of ethics, yeah, I'm gonna question your epistemological foundations for your ethical system. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
that's a thing you do.
So would you rather would I just say like moral realism?
Okay, sure. How in your worldview do you secure real moral categories given that they're not in the sense data?
I'm sorry, what does I mean by moral categories?
So things like the good, the virtuous, what counts as good rather than what's bad.
So good
like,
things would
let's
be
say
things
there's
that
a
we
moral
are
virtue.
good thing hold I understand. Good things would be things that we ought to do. Bad things would be things that we ought not do.
Yes. Okay, sure. Yeah. That would be a category of morality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was answering your question. Sorry, I was answering Im's question.
Sure, that's fine. We'll go with that.
All right, great. Yeah, so I would say that morality just dictates the way that moral agents interact with each other. If we hold that moral agents such as ourselves have certain rights just by virtue of being a moral agent, then we must grant that to all other moral agents. One of the most foundational of those would be our well-being, because we can't achieve any of our goals without our personal well-being. So if we grant well-being to ourselves, then we would have to grant it to all other moral agents. And I would argue that things like
But isn't that completely arbitrary?
no,
Isn't
it's
that
not
completely
arbitrary, it's
arbitrary
logical
because-
consistency.
No, I'm saying that if your set of morals is just basically what we axiomatically, pragmatically dictate to be the case, then there's nothing that prevents me from saying, could these standards have been different in another logically possible world? Well, yes, because you would have to have demonstrated contradiction there. So if it's the case in another logically possible world, there is a different set of moral norms, then for your set to be the actual ones you got to follow is ultimately arbitrary. So then
I don't think
you would
that
have
Im's paying
no
attention.
real basis for the categories.
I don't think that I'm paying attention.
If it's an arbitrary principle, it can't function as a universal critique. Thus, your critique is unfounded. It doesn't have enough
my
force to
critique,
argue against
my
position.
critique is well. First, I'm not even saying critique necessarily, but it's about the world that we live in. Are you sorry? I'm saying that every critique has to be able to apply to every single logically possible universe?
Yes, otherwise it can't function as a universal critique. It just becomes arbitrary.
I'm not trying to make it a universal critique. I'm trying to critique within our logical system. Why would I care about worlds that are not our own?
Okay, I posit a different set of axiomatic positions about the moral implications of the text. How would you be able to critique that?
Okay, well, if I'm wants to say actually slavery is good because by our logic, like torturing and keeping people as property is good.
How do you know? How do you know what constitutes the good or the bad?
Again, whether it's something we ought or ought not do, Mark.
How do we know whether something is what we ought or ought not do? How do we know?
Again, logical consistency, Mark. You didn't listen. Sorry, I didn't listen to any of my explanations.
How do we know that that's the standard we should be following? How
All
do
right,
we know that?
I'm gonna drop the I'm a bit because clearly this person just isn't fucking listening to anything that I'm saying, and it's really fucking frustrating. So Mark, let's break it down to like as little tiny little pieces as I can do. Is morality a system that dictates like what actions moral agents should or should not take when interacting with each other?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. So, are moral agents people, or not necessarily people, are moral agents beings that have desires and take actions to achieve those desires?
Sure.
Is one's
Sure, I'll go
life
with
and well-being fundamentally necessary for achieving one's desires?
Yes.
So therefore you grant that moral agents fundamentally, like, it is necessary for them to have well-being to achieve their goals and desires?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, therefore, we ought not to impede on the well-being of others if we are being logically consistent, because they are moral agents and necessarily should have their well-being.
The argument's formally valid, okay? How do we know what constitutes harm versus not harm?
I would say that harm is pretty measurable, right? So giving someone a flower, assuming they're not allergic to it, not generally harmful.
But you're already begging the question because you're assuming that allergy is harmful. How do we know what's harmful prior to measuring at all?
How do we know what's harmful? I would say whether or not it has a detrimental impact to their health, whether it inflicts any sort of suffering.
That's still begging the question because what is detriment? These are measurements of progression.
What
that
is
you're not
detriment?
justifying. Yeah, detriment entails some distortion from the norm. You're presupposing this norm that I'm asking you to give an account for, namely that there is a distinction between what's good.
There
and
are
what's
some
harmful
pretty
and
obvious
harmful.
norms, right? Like one norm is my head is attached to my body. If my head were not attached to my body, that would be detrimental.
On what grounds? On the detrimental to my function? How do we know that I ought function versus not?
Well, because you couldn't continue to function if your head were no longer on your body.
Irrelevant.
It would impede your body's ability to function.
Functionality doesn't tell me what I ought or ought not do. Do you understand the human critique of the failure of justifying?
I love when people say stupid fucking things and they're like, "Do you understand?" It's one of my favorite things.
So David Hume was an actual philosopher. He made this critique called the is-ought gap. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. There's a thing called descriptive.
Hey, babe, welcome in.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going better now that you're here. Yeah, this guy's like
definitely not lying about
trash.
driving, by the way, right?
Yeah, no, Christians would never lie about something that...
I wanted to point out
he's
what
gone.
ACA pointed out in the okay, fucking
Yeah, well, I pointed it out at the start where I'm like, this is a burden shift that people do to not have to defend scripture or defend their worldview by trying to critique atheism somehow, even though atheism isn't a worldview. Yeah, I pointed that out at the start, and I agree. And yeah, assuming that's Greg on the account, Greg's right. That was just trying to get away from the responsibility of having to answer for the atrocities in the Bible by trying to redefine what an atrocity is. But to try to ask me to justify what is suffering or what is detrimental is just kind of ridiculous. If you have to go into the definition of literally every single word you use, even when there's a universally agreed upon meaning, then there's no fucking way to have a productive conversation.
Yeah, and that's really all I was going to point out was just what Greg and ACA said, that it was just you asking why you had the right to ask the question rather than trying to answer the question. It was and by the way, first of all, you're gonna comment. It's a common Christian tactic. We see it so much.
Oh yeah.
Start keeping a tally of it, you guys in the comments. When a Christian comes in, lies about something silly, the driving thing, and then deflects into asking why we have a right to ask these questions about the Bible. So why do Christians believe in an awful book? It's very easy to engage with the book. If you're not an intellectual coward, you will.
We had a super chat over on YouTube that I didn't get to read before our guest left that says, when I'm says I'm isn't driving for TikTok purposes, I find it hard to believe I'm.
Right.
Shiloh, I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always a good way to start a conversation is by lying, and it's a very classic way to do it. Another classic Christian thing, like Damon Blackfire and Logan are showing here in the comments, is just hiding in the comments and chatting up a bunch of stuff.
Oh, little pussies.
Yeah.
Do we have some
So,
pussies
and
in
then
the chat?
just gish galloping little half correct things, misunderstanding a lot of things. Like, for instance, Damon Blackfire completely ignoring the fact that the Arabic groups were the ones that preserved a lot of that literature for the Catholics to maintain and copy in the Renaissance.
Just real quick, I just want to be sure that we have like an alert to know that there's pussies in chat. So if you see some little pussy bitches in chat, can I get a 1 in chat, please?
Well, Damon, it's empty, and there's still no requests from you here. I'm not noticing requests from you.
Oh, I'm seeing some ones. Oh no, it looks like we definitely have some little pussy bitches in chat.
Anyway, you kicked his ass, babe, by the way. That was really hot.
Oh,
that was really, really good. Yeah, notice you moved 2 conversations. Yeah, we're calling you out for being a pussy and staying in the comments about it. So come up here and have some conversations like with a human being. Damon Blackfire.
Sounds like a DeviantArt OC.
Unfortunately, it is a real Game of Thrones character, but it's basically one of another million versions of, fantasy dragon schmiller.
Paladin Morningstar says, I love watching Ian Socratically bring these idiots to the realization that they are stupid AF. Yeah, I may or may not have gotten some of that from Ian.
All these little boys heroizing fascists with edgy names and swords.
And people just laugh at them. It definitely is an edgelord name. But how are you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I've got 2 monitors now.
Is it nice?
It's overwhelming. I was saying earlier, I feel like I should have Subway Surfers playing on one of them.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, you guys would just love to hear, like, the whole time, right?
Is that even Subway Surfers? What is that from?
I don't know. Why did that rearrange my windows when I clicked like that? What the fuck? Everything just got rearranged. No, I had it all so nice.
You should set it up with different backgrounds in each monitor.
I did! One is PJ, one's Dewey.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's our cats, for those who don't know. And they're very cute, and I love them. Well, we don't have anyone requesting up, because I guess we've got a bunch of little pussy bitches in chat. Uh-oh.
There is no apostolic descent.
Some hot spots. Gus got rearranged? Not yet. He's still at work.
There's no good evidence for historical Jesus and very little for historical Paul. The early church is mostly made up by Greeks and Jewish people living in Greek cities, not in Jerusalem. The whole apostolic tradition come about later.
You're cute when you're knowledgeable, which is often.
Get a room.
Other than ours?
No, ours works. I'll meet you there.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Now you're just here to watch me flirt.
All right, on the way. See you soon.
He's lying. He's not going to be here for like 3 more hours. Bunch of chickens? Yeah, we do got a bunch of chickens. I am starting to sweat a little bit in here. That might... I don't know. It's definitely less because I moved my PC out of the closet, but... That's why I have my fan on me right now. Because it's a little toasty, and I don't want to blast it because the fan is kind of at an angle where it would, like, hit the mic if I put it right on me. And I don't want to have that, like, going on, so. Let my PC be itself. Yeah, it's out of the closet now. Woohoo! But I'm not. I got, the desk I got is much smaller than my old one, but I like it. A great podcast to listen to while on your walk. Hey. I am happy to be something you put on in the background when you're working on something else. I am totally fine with that. I know I have plenty of creators that I do that with. Especially Joel and Meza, so I don't have to look at them. No one tell him I said that. That wasn't very nice. You were napping and listening. I'm gonna worm my way into your dreams. Ooh. Gotta talk their language. Anyone in this family ever seen a chicken? How are you a bigot because you said homosexuality is a choice? Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that is bigotry. I'd just say that is ignorance. Listening from work, says Cheesy. Oh, so I shouldn't say anything not safe for work? Not taking a break. Ignoring OSHA policies. No running water in the building during work hours. Undocumented overtime. Hope that helps. Yeah, I don't know. We've been kind of slow on callers lately. I don't know why. I guess I've just defeated all the Christians. There's no more. No more. They're all gone. We did it, Reddit. How do I justify science backing the Bible? It doesn't, so I wouldn't justify that. Is Mr. Damon like 12? Possibly. Joel is stealing them? Is Joel alive right now? That would make a lot of sense if Joel was alive right now. Oh, that whore. Ooh!
What up?
Oh, you do kind of sound like a child. Can you give me your name, age, and pronouns?
Kind of insulting because I'm androgynous. You shouldn't be transphobic. I'm 22. He, him.
And what should I call you?
He, him.
No, do you want to be called Damon?
Oh, sure.
Alright, after the incest guy. Cool.
Born in incest, but I don't think he, I think his wife was from, Essos. This isn't the guy from House of the Dragon.
Okay, I'm like, because wasn't Blackfire? I won't get into it.
Damon Blackfire is technically named after that guy, but he's a bastard son of like one of the fat Aegon kings who came after. Did you watch Dunk and Egg?
No, my partner did.
Oh, you should. That's just gas.
I only watched House of the Dragon because I was like, let me know if Matt Smith's ass is in it, and sure enough.
W. I heard season 3, the leaks aren't that good, but I mean, I haven't really watched it, so I won't judge. The second season of that might show a flashback, and I've heard rumors that Henry Cavill was slated to play him, but no, he's just he's a bastard son who got the sword that the Blackfire sword, and he started a rebel house, kind of based. Then he got shut up by. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
I haven't finished it.
Okay, do you know the green guy who like teaches Bran?
No, not that far
Yes,
yet.
you do. What episode are you on?
I
through the first season.
I got to like season 2, I think.
Yeah, you definitely. He's the guy who like kind of teaches Bran the three-eyed raven. He kills Daemon Blackfire in like a field with a bunch of arrows like a coward.
All right. Well, you're sounding off a lot in the comments.
I mean, sounding off. Yeah, I just like talking to people. I love talking about Jesus. Yeah.
Oof. Ugh. All right. Well, why do Christians believe an awful book?
I mean, I don't think it's awful. I think a lot of things that are written, I shouldn't say take a lot of context, but when they're viewed with context, you know, and if you go in presuming that there's no contradictions, which I know you don't agree with, but you can explain it to other parts of the Bible what it's talking about. It's like I was just talking with somebody earlier about how Jesus was like called somebody a dog.
Yeah, he calls a Canaanite woman a dog.
In a Sisyphean. And the point of that is, I don't know, at least to me, to just as a test to see that somebody isn't just coming up to you for free stuff, free miracles. So.
Was Jesus
And that-
not
that-
all knowing?
Sure, but some people say that he wasn't all knowing on earth because he limited himself. So I can't really adjudicate whether he was or wasn't, because he did at one point say that only the
Sorry,
Father
just
knows.
quick question. Why are there screams of damned children in your background?
Oh, sorry, I'm at work and I work at a place where kids run around. I can go to the bathroom.
If you wouldn't mind.
They're kicking a soccer ball around the lobby. I should probably go yell at them, but I'm a chud and I don't want to do my job.
Well, all right. It just seems like Jesus would know her intentions and wouldn't have to test her. And even if he did need to test her, there's a way to do it that's not by humiliating her and degrading her.
I don't think it was humiliation because, I don't know. So, one, I can't say whether or not he would know his intentions because I don't know enough about the way Jesus limited himself and taking on, human nature. So that's my first point. Two, there's times when God knows somebody's intentions and still tests them, like with Abraham. Right?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Well, if you don't give somebody the choice, even if you know what they're gonna do, like you have to give somebody the choice. Like they have to make the choice for themselves. Even if you know what choice they're gonna make, they still have to make it for themselves. That's how I think about it.
But if you're only giving them the choice to test what they would do, then it's unnecessary to give them the choice.
What do you mean? If you're only giving them the choice to test what they would do?
If the only point of the test is to see what you would do in the context of the test, but you already know precisely what they're going to do, the test is useless.
I don't think it's useless because
with Job,
it's for them to figure
right?
out, right? Because like Abraham didn't know what his future was, right? So it's not like he knows what his choice is going to be and the outcome of it. It's not like those women know what their choice is going to lead to.
But like with Job, for instance, God already knew precisely what Job would have done when his faith was tested. Was there really any reason to unalive his family and servants and livestock if he already knew precisely what Job would do if that happened?
I can't speak on it because I haven't read it, but
you haven't read
I guess,
Job.
like I said,
interesting. You're like a fervent Christian who hasn't read one of the most popular books of the Bible? You're fervent enough to come and argue in the comments on here.
I honestly wasn't even arguing. I just came in and I said, Jesus loves y'all. And I had about like 3 different people just like jump down my neck. So. And then I got told that I was like all angry and stuff, which obviously I'm not. I'm just chilling. And then you called me some misogynistic stuff, which is kind of rude. You shouldn't equate negativity with female genitalia because that's rooted in misogyny. You know that, right?
No. I'm using the shortened form of pusillanimous.
Sure, but the way you're using it isn't equal to how other people like colloquially recognize it, right? And you also called me a bitch.
Oh, you are a bitch.
Sure, and is that?
Do you want me to call you a dick instead?
Is that term not rooted in misogyny?
I'll call you a dick.
You can call me whatever.
Out.
I'm just saying maybe you shouldn't be misogynist.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting because first you tried to like grandstand about like transphobia to a trans person, which is strange, and now you're trying to grandstand. Now you're trying to grandstand about misogyny to someone who is AFAB, which is also strange.
Grandstanding? No, I think that nobody should use these terms when they're brought from a place of hatred, right? Just because they're like spread and normalized, that doesn't mean that it's not internal, like internally born from transphobia, right? Because you made a joke in my voice, and then
I just said you sounded young. It wasn't a joke. I have kids come up here. You sounded like you were very young at first.
All right, that's cool.
Like, cool your jets, Benny. Like,
I'm cool. Do I sound not cool?
You were getting a little heated there, yeah. But have you not heard of like reclaiming language?
Sure, I think there's a way you can do it though.
Yeah, and I was doing it the way that works for me.
And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's reclaiming language, but I also think that there's just things that
Okay, can I ask you a few questions? You don't have to answer them. Are you a trans person?
Am I a trans person? I'm working on it.
That's the most confusing answer you could have given to that.
It's my gender identity. I don't know about my gender identity yet, man.
Okay. Are you an AFAB person?
No. Well.
Okay. So maybe don't tell a person who is how they can and can't reclaim language historically used against AFAB people. And if you're not sure whether or not you're trans, maybe don't tell a trans person whether or not they can use or reclaim language historically used against trans people. Just
No,
a
I mean, I think, yeah,
thought.
it's not that you just said it though. Oh boy, that was up here. Rat soup also called me a pussy. So regardless, and I don't think he was using pusillanimous, right?
Oh, he probably
So
was. He's
you
a
gotta,
huge
think
nerd.
about this, and then you got to think about how your actions descend down to people in the comments. You know what I mean? Who look up to you and might not hold the same views of you that they're trying to reclaim misogynist language. And if that's what you're doing, good on you. You know, power to you. But the intention matters, right?
Yeah, I know what my intention is, and you don't. So again, it's just policing language being reclaimed by somebody when you don't have any sort of. It's just if you
No, I
had
think
any
I
sort of
think the
authority to
first
do so, it would be
knee-jerk
different. But
reaction
instead,
when you hear about like misogyny or transphobia is to be against it.
yeah, but it's not those things, right? And it's pretty. I have in my username that I'm non-binary. Why am I flagged for harassment and bullying?
Nobody being harassed. Don't report. I'm all right, guys. I'm chilling.
And it was me being reported. It's pretty much everywhere on all my accounts that I'm non-binary, so it'll be really, really easy to see that I am in fact a trans person. So for it to immediately start talking about transphobia is just a little strange.
I mean, I didn't see it. I guess that's my bad. But like I said, even as a trans person, you're not exempt from being transphobic.
And I'm not claiming that I'm exempt from being transphobic, but I'm allowed to use. I'm allowed to reclaim language historically used against the trans community and instead use it as a form of empowerment, or in some cases, if appropriately, in a comedic sense. I don't think that's really something for you to police. It's interesting that you're a Christian and you're not sure about your gender identity. You don't worry about that damning you to hell?
I mean, hell is just, wanting separation from God, and I don't want separation from God, so I'm not really worried about it.
Okay, I mean, that's not super biblical, but I'll take it, I guess. It's
How
better
is
than
it
the
not
people.
biblical?
Oh, because the Bible consistently describes hell as a place of conscious torment.
Yeah, then you get there by wanting to be separate from God.
Oh, so it's separation from God and conscious torment.
What do you mean and? I mean, I don't know. I can't say what it is.
Well, the Bible, I mean, there's the weeping and gnashing of teeth, right? There's the lake
You
of
talking
fire.
about Revelations?
Not just Revelation, because there's also the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, right, where it describes the rich man burning and begging for a single drop of water to cool his tongue because the agony of the flames is so severe. So it's pretty consistently described as a place of torment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. From the stuff that I looked at, it's kind of debated theologically on what it is. People believe differently between, solar eradication, if there's kind of like an eternal, purgatory until the judgment, like the second coming, 'Cause
Yeah,
how
I mean,
holy is described.
there's
I don't know.
there's different interpretations, but I would say that the scripture's pretty direct about what hell's supposed to be. Now, I will note that sort of depiction is only given in the New Testament, but the whole Bible is bullshit, so of course it's going to be inconsistent about what it says between the Old and New Testament, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really worried about hell. Like my point isn't to not go to hell. My point is to just be with God. So, not really worried about that.
Yeah, if the God you believe in is real, I wouldn't want to be around him for eternity. He's kind of a horrible being.
That's cool. That's your choice. Do whatever you want to do, man. Or
Yeah, just
Right, man.
you do
Okay.
realize you'd be spending eternity with someone who condones slavery, who condoned taking little girls as sex slaves, who ordered the slaughtering of infants, who drowned every animal in the world except for a select few, who said that women should be burned alive if their father was a priest, and she dared to have sex before marriage. That's the God that you want to spend all of your eternity with?
Yeah, I mean, you misrepresented a lot of things you brought up. Working backwards, like that priest and the daughter thing, is about sex work, 1, and 2 in practice. Yeah, I mean, that's literally what the verse says.
Yeah, some translations do say through prostitution, but a more accurate translation is through promiscuity.
Okay. So promiscuity isn't always just sex before marriage.
That would be what
I don't know if this is
promiscuity means,
biblical.
yes.
Can I just speak? Can I speak?
Well, I'm going to correct you if you say something inaccurate.
Yeah, I mean, you threw 8 things at me, and I'm trying to explain something, my viewpoint, right? So for sex before marriage, in the Catholic view, that's not promiscuous if you then don't marry your partner. Like me and my partner had sex before. Smacks before we got married, but it's not really an issue. We got married. Yeah, that was always the plan.
Okay, that's not what this is talking about whatsoever. It says that if a priest's daughter profanes herself through promiscuity, she should be burned in the fire.
Yeah, and you have to look at like the practice of what they did. They didn't really burn people.
They did.
Would burn the corpse but they would first like stone people. I mean,
Nope.
I looked this up like earlier.
Yeah, me too. And it's in the writings of the Sanhedrin 7:2 specifically. It tells a story of a time.
Sanhedrin sucked. The Pharisees sucked.
Yeah, but it tells a story of a time where this was done incorrectly because they burned the woman the wrong way. They burned the woman at the stake, which wasn't what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to put a wick down into her throat, light the wick, and burn her up from the inside. And this is specifically referring to this law. Like, this is a punishment for that law specifically. So the Sanhedrin...
Yeah, the Sanhedrin also, like, constantly sucked and went against Jesus.
Yeah, but they're telling a story. They're telling a
the
story about a
Sanhedrin to the
specific
Pharisees.
time. They're telling a story about a specific time a woman was burned at the stake because of this law. Had God not given this law, at least one fewer woman would have been burned alive. So why would God
that's how
give
you
that
want
law?
to take it. But you're taking people that didn't even follow their own religion correctly. They were like the Pharisees were distinct from the Second Temple.
Let's
That's why they started with the
assume that
Jesus also said, no, stoning's not better, but Jesus said, he who is without sin cast the first stone. That's why I love Jesus. He's my
No, Jesus didn't say that actually. But going back to
also, what do you mean? Can you finish? I was wanting to finish, and you know.
Well, I was in the middle.
Got to be equivalent, yo. Full Metal Alchemist.
You just sounded like somebody. I don't know who. Oh, Tom from Parks and Rec. I don't know what that
I love that
sentence.
show.
Gotta be equivalent, yo. I don't know what that reminded me. Yeah. Let's assume that. Because it does mean promiscuity, not literally prostitution, but let's assume it did mean prostitution. Do you think that women who are prostitutes deserve to get burned alive?
No, and that's why I said I don't think they often burn people alive.
But there's records of them burning people alive for this, so...
Yeah, I didn't say it didn't happen, and that's wrong. But... I mean,
Okay,
I have to look into it.
So if God hadn't given this law, women wouldn't have been burned alive. And if God is all-knowing, he would have known that giving this law would have meant women would be burned alive.
I mean, like I said, I'd have to look into it.
Okay.
I can't argue the point of something I'm not educated on. And no offense to you, but I just don't see you as like a reliable or a credible source for the true context of a verse.
I understand that, but you did say that you haven't read much of the Bible, so why are you arguing about the Bible whatsoever if you say that you don't want to talk about things you're not educated on?
I like I said, I came in here and I said, I love Jesus, and people yelled at me, and then you called me a pussy and told me to cut her up. So
you could have left. It's just, if your whole thing is you don't want to debate things that you're not educated on, then don't.
No, I mean, I can debate it, but I would just have to go, research it, and I assume you don't want, a break in tempo.
Yeah, no, but again, what I'm saying is next time, if you can just leave. I'm not,
Leave what? I mean, you told me to come up, so I did.
Yeah, you could have just scrolled if... Again, I'm fine with you trying to debate things you're not educated on, just makes me look better, right? But if you don't like doing that, then just scroll.
No, I didn't say I don't like you doing that. I'm just kind of informing you that.
Right. So we talked about the burning women in the fire thing.
Yeah.
We can move on from that. Great. The slaughtering of infants. You want to talk about that one? The Amalekites?
You can read off the verse.
Yep, I'll pull it up.
Are you talking about how, never mind, I'll just let you read, my bad.
The link is just barely off the screen. There we go. So, and for those who are usually in Joel and Mezzo's live, no, this does not count as the nightly reading of the Amalekites. But this is 1 Samuel 15:3. I'm going to be reading the NRSVUE version. So it says, "Now go," and this is an order from God, by the way. "Now go and attack Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." So God includes children and infants on the list of those to be slaughtered.
Yeah, I think I spoke to somebody about this before. It sounds like it's divine judgment And I think that, infants and people that are unable to make a complete choice to stray from God are saved. So I would assume that, like, yeah,
Does that
it's
just give us free reign to
tough
slaughter
choice.
any of them that we want?
No, it's divine judgment. He explained, and I would assume
Judgment for
like,
what?
Can I just finish?
No,
The
judgment
amount
for
of
what?
living
You're
in
justifying
like
the
a bunch
slaughtering of
generational
babies.
sin. Living a bunch of generational sin. I mean, they're saved. They go to heaven. And
You're
and the
justifying their
alternative.
slaughter.
Can I speak?
No, not if you're going to continue to justify the slaughtering of infants.
What do you mean justify the slaughter of infants?
You're saying, well, they went to heaven, so it's okay that God had them slaughtered by a sword. That's okay then.
The alternative is they raise up and they perform child sacrifice. Like that's.
You don't know that.
I mean, God probably knows that. That's
we don't
my point.
punish people for things they haven't done yet.
That's my point. Is God probably knows that.
But God's foreknowledge will be different from actualization. They hadn't actually done anything wrong yet, so how can you exact judgment on them when they haven't done anything to deserve it?
You said earlier, what is the point of testing somebody if the point of the test is them going through the test, right?
Yes.
So in that, you posit that somebody doesn't actually need to do the action if God can look into their hearts and know that they would do the action.
Are you now changing your view on that to say that it about
No,
like testing
I'm just
people?
asking you because of how it relates to your view, because you're now saying that they need to do it first, right? But before you said that if God can look in your heart and see what you're gonna do, they don't need to do it.
I think that this is incredibly inhumane to do it this way, even if you are going to try to punish them for something. First of all, I don't think that you can punish. This is different to know if someone's going to do something versus punish someone for doing something they haven't done yet, right?
I think if it's, living in or not eternal, I shouldn't say that, but living in crazy sin and child sacrificing, I don't know, maybe it's a better option to go to heaven. I'm not God.
Yeah, so did they hold
divinely ordain it.
Do they hold baby's first ritualistic dagger and stab it into the beating heart of a lamb? Or did they probably just cry and piss themselves a lot because they were infants?
At the time, I don't know. Maybe they did have baby's first dagger. You never know. I wasn't there.
I need you to be for real, Damon.
I'm trying to be for real.
These babies were innocent. God ordered them to be slaughtered. They had done nothing to deserve that. You can say, well, they get to go to heaven. Okay, why did God not just, lights out for them with a snap? Why put them through the torture of being slaughtered by a sword?
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't explain it to you. I'm not God. Why did God make a choice that only he knows why he made that choice? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he should have made that choice because I don't think there's a good reason to slay babies.
Oh,
no.
What's your opinion on abortion? Come on now.
Slaying babies can be good, if God says so.
So what's your opinion on abortion? So that's what I mean. Obviously, there are things, right? There are reasons.
I thought we were talking about
kill
babies.
I mean, yeah, do a lot of people, a fetus is a baby. Do you
Yeah,
not
a lot of
think all
people
human
could be
life
wrong
is
about
inherently
something.
valuable?
No.
You don't think that all
Definitely
human
not,
life
and you don't either.
I do think it is all inherently
Oh,
valuable.
you ever masturbated?
Semen is not a unique human life.
Each sperm is unique.
Yeah, but it's not a unique human life from me.
What
It's an
species
extension
is
of my
it?
DNA, right?
What species is it?
It's an extension of my DNA. That's why
What
I can
species is a
scratch my
sperm,
hair
Damon? What species
or
is
pull my
it?
hair out. It's of the genus Homo sapien.
Oh, so it's human, and is it a
Yeah, it's
living
human.
cell?
It is, but it's not a human life
So it's human and alive, but it's not a human life?
because it's not unique human
This
DNA.
is rhetoric that anti-choicers use when people say that the
Unique
clump of
human-
cells
It's not
argument.
unique human DNA. Right?
It is.
From who? From me? No, it's not. It's my DNA.
I don't know if you understand how DNA works, Damon, if this is the argument that you're making. Because the DNA doesn't change when a zygote is formed. It's always going to be the same sections of
happens?
DNA. There's
it's two,
about
it's two
half
DNA
from
that
each
combine to
parent.
become unique DNA. Exactly. Boom. The formation of unique human. I'm not trying to talk about abortion. My point is that you don't
It is
hold
unique.
all human life
If you
as-
hold that a zygote is unique DNA, then you would have to also hold that a sperm is unique DNA.
It's my DNA, so no, it's not unique.
Okay, and the zygote is yours and the partner's DNA.
Yes, because the zygote's DNA is not uniquely, completely found anywhere else, right?
Okay, neither is the sperm's.
Yes,
the
it is. It's
sperm-
found in me. It holds my
No,
DNA.
the sperm is haploid, your cells are diploid. So it would be different from the DNA in
It
your
holds my
cells.
DNA, right?
It would be half of the DNA from your cells.
Yeah, so it's from me.
That's not
Just
the
because
same
it's half doesn't make it.
thing.
Oh my gosh!
Damon.
I said unique. I didn't say it's perfectly the same because that's how reproduction works, right? It's two halves that create a new unique whole.
Each sperm is unique.
Each sperm is unique, sure,
Yes.
but they're not. It's not unique human DNA. As in, you find it in me, right? You don't find any parts of the DNA.
No,
of the
you would not
sperm,
find that
in me.
DNA in you. Otherwise, all your cells would be haploid.
Oh my gosh! All right,
Damon, are you really trying to lecture me
If I
on
have-
biology?
2 pieces of paper, right? And I rip them up and I rearrange them. You can find. That's a horrible analogy. My point is that the cells are different, right? But the DNA, you find it in me. Not exactly, because obviously.
Yeah, and
But-
and how do we determine whether or not someone is the parent of someone else?
I imagine if they hold the DNA from their parent.
A DNA test, because that DNA that they have is found in you.
Yeah, but there's also a half DNA that isn't found in me, and that's why it's a unique data
Right,
DNA
because
set.
it's a diploid cell made from 2 haploid cells, one of which is produced by you, and that haploid cell has unique DNA.
How is it unique? Can you not find any of it in me in any makeup?
That's not what unique DNA means.
Well, what does the unique DNA mean?
Because if that were the case, there would be literally no unique DNA, because we share some portions of our genome with literally every form of life on Earth. So if you say if there's any overlap, it cannot be unique DNA, then there is
I
no
didn't
such
mean
thing
that
as
there's
unique
any
DNA.
overlap, but my point is that you find in a sperm cell, right? Is there DNA in it that is not from me?
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about whether or not it's unique.
I know. Can you just answer my question?
I already said no, but that's not what we're talking about. Damon, okay, just to,
Okay, so that's
before
why
we
I
go
don't think
further
it's
on
unique
this.
in the terms of like human life.
Yeah, you're very wrong, but can you tell me what DNA stands for before we continue?
Oh my gosh, I used to know this. I took AP biology. Oh, no, I can't. I used to know RNA was though.
I'm not going to continue to listen to you try to lecture me on DNA then.
I'm not trying to lecture you on DNA. I brought up an analogous scenario and we
You are
pivoted
trying to
on
lecture me on...
accident.
I did not pivot. You started talking about abortion.
I said we pivoted as a group.
You started talking about abortion.
Yeah,
which
I
was a
brought it up
massive
as an
pivot, but
analogous
also
scenario.
just a little tip. I have a biology degree.
Cool beans, yo.
I studied this extensively.
Cool beans, yo.
You do not really understand meiosis, diploid versus haploid cells, or what makes DNA quote unquote unique.
So you don't hold with the like biological consensus that your life starts at conception?
That's not the consensus, but also no.
Okay, when does life start though?
I don't have a point for when it starts, but it's not conception, and I can demonstrate it to you pretty easily.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So I grew up with a pair of identical twins in my school. So which one of them was alive?
What do you mean? Which one of them was alive before
only
the
one
embryo
of
split?
Yeah, only one of them can be alive. So which one was it? Patrick or was it Sean? Which one was alive?
I don't know, but I also don't think the exception makes the rule, right?
Oh, but if you're trying to say that life definitively begins at a certain point, then it couldn't have like.
I guess you'd have
later
to be able to find out
start.
which split from which, or is it like an equal split? I don't know how twins.
Yeah,
work.
so that makes sense. So yeah, monozygotic twins, it would just be an equal split. It's not one's not like the lesser in the split, right? So which one was alive?
Neither were.
Neither were alive. Neither of the twins that I went to school with were alive.
It was a separate being, and then they split, and then whenever they split, that's when.
Interesting. So the
That's what I would
two
say.
people that I went to school with every day were not alive.
Their unique human life, had not yet begun because I don't think their unique, human DNA was formed.
Well,
yet,
that's
since
not
it
what we're
hadn't split.
talking. You just said life begins.
Uh,
So
yeah. Well, yeah.
so they
They're like
weren't
they're like both of
alive.
them. I mean, no, they both were alive at conception.
Oh, but they didn't both exist at conception. So how are they alive if they didn't
What do you
exist?
mean they both didn't exist? They just
Because
hadn't
like,
split yet.
well, yeah, there was one zygote.
Sure.
So which one of them is alive?
Both of them. They just hadn't split yet.
But there was only one life at conception, and if life always begins at conception, life can't begin after that. So there had to have consistently only been one life.
I think
So
it's like the Trinity, yo. One
so
God, three
is
persons.
was Patrick alive or was Sean alive? Which one?
I'd have to get a microscope and go back in time.
You'd have to get a microscope and go back in time to determine which one of the
Oh,
twins
sorry,
was alive.
an ultrasound machine.
An ultrasound machine. Interesting. So you would rather say something that stupid than just concede?
No, I think you're giving
I'm just
me,
clarifying. I'm
I
clarifying
asked
that you
you.
would
I
rather
told
say
you. I think
something
you're
that
giving me an
stupid.
exception. I think you're giving me an exception.
Well, when you're trying to make a rule that applies every single time, there can't be exceptions.
I mean, I think life begins at conception. I think
But
if you're saying, if we're
okay, then
saying
which
when
one
it
was
split,
alive? Then which
what do you mean, which
twin was
one
alive?
was alive? They were both alive.
But that can't be because there was only one life at conception. So if
What do
life
you mean one
if
life?
life always begins at conception, and there was only one life at the time of conception, then there can't be two lives later. So between the two beings, there's
Yeah,
only one
I
life.
think it was
So
always
which was
like
alive?
two souls there. So
But there was only one life at conception, so there can only be one life consistently. So which one was alive?
I think they were both alive. I think that
Oh, well,
I
that
guess it
just
had two
directly
souls before
contradicts
the,
what you
sp-
just
the
said.
split. No, I mean my opinion is evolving.
You didn't say anything about ensoulment. Oh, so just ad hoc, you're saying like, oh, they had souls.
You're just asking me a question, and my answer is evolving as I'm thinking on it.
Yeah, that's ad hoc. That's what that would be called.
Okay.
You're just kind of like on the fly changing your argument to try to make it make sense when you're presented with a contradiction. But yeah, the splitting of a zygote can happen prior to implantation, and it can also happen post implantation, and does sometimes in IVF. So I don't know. I'd hate to have to go tell one of those guys that they're not alive, right? Or since they have the same DNA, like they can only be one unique being. That's going to be a real downer for one of them, right? When they have to decide which. But life begins at conception, right?
I mean, yeah, unless you can give me a better alternative.
That's not really how it works. So if I can disprove yours,
No, but
because
my
I
point
would
is you
argue
haven't
that
disproved it.
I would
think
argue that
my-
life is cyclical.
To me, like, to disprove it, you need to present an alternative.
No.
What do you mean? No, I just gave you my opinion.
Okay. I think that my vagina is encrusted with diamonds.
Sick.
Do you think
That
that's
has
true?
no. I don't know. I don't want to
Does
figure
that
it
seem
out.
reasonable to you that I have a diamond encrusted vagina?
Reasonable? I don't know. Possible? Sure.
Possible.
Yeah. Rhinestones, bling it out, yo. You do what
That's
you
not
do.
diamonds.
I don't really
Yeah,
want
so
to
you're
talk
just
about
refusing
your
to engage
genitals.
honestly whatsoever. Okay, I'll talk about something
You
else.
just brought up your genitals to me. Like, that's just weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you an example of something like absurd to show you how ridiculous you're being. But you just have been refusing to engage honestly.
Well,
this
no,
whole time.
you gave me an anecdote, right? You didn't give me an opinion.
Okay, I'm trying to like give you an example of something.
You said
where
you
you
said
can
something
pretty
you
easily.
told me a personal story. Pretty easily by what? Taking your pants off?
You haven't let me finish my fucking sentence, Damon. That you could
All
pretty
right.
easily say, hey, that's probably not true. Because how the fuck would that even work? You can't even apply adhesive in there. At which point I would ask you, okay, then what is it encrusted with? What stone is it encrusted with? If you can't tell me what gemstone my vagina is encrusted with, then you can't say that it's not diamond encrusted.
I don't think that's analogous because you're saying. No, the analogous scenario there would be if I can tell you anything that's encrusted with, and I would just say flesh, right? I don't need to. You don't need to provide.
No, you would have to
me-
specifically tell me what gemstone it is.
Mm,
'Cause I
don't
said
think-
it was
I don't think that's
diamond.
analogous to my scenario. I'm saying I don't think you can disprove me on this unless you give me a better like anything on when life begins. I'm
I
not
think
saying
it's
that you need to
cyclical.
find.
I already said that.
Okay, explain that, please.
Yeah. So, sperm is alive. Eggs are alive. You could say that our DNA, since we share DNA with every form of life on Earth, that there is technically no such thing as, like, definitively unique life.
I think there's a big difference between just like being alive and like a unique human life.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you're trying to say that, like, okay, I gotta back up for you. You said you're talking about when life begins for humans.
Yeah, like human life. Your unique human existence. What is the
Well, that's a
farthest
different
point back
thing
you
than
can
just
draw that?
life.
I mean, that's what I mean by life. Life is your existence. I'm not talking about being alive, like organically alive.
Oh, well, that's what life would mean when you just say life begins. Because then you're kind of getting into personhood if you talk about just like.
No, I guess I didn't explain it well. Like, yeah, I'm talking in the biological sense, but like you just said, yes, sperm is alive, an egg is alive, but I don't think it's until combination a unique human life that is separate discernibly from the mom or the mother and the father.
Well, I would argue that since all of the DNA is found in other organisms, you could still say that it's not unique.
And if that's your opinion, cool deal, yeah.
That's not just that's my very educated opinion on it. It's like if you have a deck of cards, like you have 2 deck of cards and you take half the cards out of each and put them together. I mean, the cards are still the ones from that other deck, right? They didn't become new cards. If I take a 5 of hearts from here and a 6 of clubs from here, it doesn't become the blurple of bleeple. It's still the same cards.
I think if you take cards from 2 separate, like, playing decks from 2 separate games, then yes, it creates an amalgam.
But those parts are still found in the
analogy,
other decks.
Yes, but it's a completely new thing. Just because it's made up of separate parts, the thing that it's made of is greater than the parts, it's not just the sum of its parts.
Why? It's just cell fusion. It literally is just the sum of its parts.
And your analogy, well, because I'd imagine if you have like a poker deck and then, I don't know, cards from Magic the Gathering. If you took half and half and rifled them together and then tried to make a new game from that.
That's disanalogous because that would be like attempted interspecies breeding. That doesn't happen.
No, it's not disanalogous. You have to use things that are like that are different in their purpose and like truth. Because if you just use 2 decks of playing cards, like that would almost be like a deck of playing cards is exactly the same as every other deck of playing cards, maybe except for look, you could say.
I would say it is just in the shuffling. We have roughly the same cards, just shuffled. Like, you and I share like 99.9% of the same DNA.
Nah, man, my DNA is mine. Hands off, freaky. I don't want to share nothing with you.
No, trust me, you can keep it.
I don't want to share nothing with you.
Fucking Targaryen. I don't want any of that shit. You think I want that fucking...
Actually, to Blackfire, the king who bore the sword, he's like super based and he freaking dies in a field trying to save his son. Pretty epic, yo. I'm so creepy.
Simply wouldn't
Dude,
have
you
a
guys,
son.
can I respond to the comments? You guys are creepy. You guys keep talking about my smex life. That's so odd, man. I'm happily married. You guys keep your freaking hands out of your pants. Like, you can insult me as a person. Why do you have to talk about someone's smex life? That's so gross. And,
hey,
and
chat.
also, it's so, like,
It's okay.
Weird. What if I was
Chat.
asexual?
Hey, chat, just
What if I
talk
was
about my sex
asexual?
life instead, okay? I'm sure
What
Rat
if
Soup
I
is
was
still in here.
asexual? Like,
He can
you're
give you guys
being,
some pointers, let you know how it goes, that whole thing. So if you guys need, you can talk about my sex life. All right, cool.
Yeah, what if I was asexual, though? This is my point. Now, I'm not talking to you, host. I'm sorry. I don't think you're a problem. But
You
I'm just
did talk about having sex with your wife already.
Did I? Oh.
Yeah. Because
Then
you were
what
talking
they're
about
saying
how
makes
in
no sense,
Catholicism
yeah.
promiscuity isn't a
Oh, yeah,
problem
but I
as long
wasn't,
as you marry.
like, going into my sex life and repeatedly saying, like, weird stuff about it. I just brought up premarital relations.
Well, you guys in the chat, you
Like,
can
look
get weird
at
about
this
me
guy.
and
Look at
Rat
this
Soup.
guy. Eddie, Dakeman has never seen a vagina. He's an incel virgin dude.
Okay, well, don't laugh like that, because that kind of makes it seem like Eddie's right.
Oh, I mean, I wish, yeah. Nah, psych, I love my wife. She the best, yeah. She the goat. She the goat, yeah.
So back to topic.
Yeah. Boom. I got about like 5 more minutes because I low-key need to go back to work. But
Yeah,
we
you've been
can
like
finish up.
neglecting children. It's fine.
No, they're being watched. I'm not like a caretaker.
All right.
You just
Yeah.
said
So
neglecting children. She's just
I
like,
would
feel
just
like I need to
say,
respond to that.
obviously, life. What? Now you've been flagged for harassment and bullying. I have to remove you. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Damon. It told me I had to, or else I'd get restricted. A paid child antagonist. Is that a career? Thanks, Damon. You have a good one. Well, that was interesting to say the least. That person ruined your night. I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. Did no one say any weird thing about my sex life in the comments? Guys, I thought you were more creative than that. Darn. Well, you know, it has been a lovely time tonight, but I think I'm gonna go send you guys over to Mezzo. Let's just check in with Mezzo, and see how long baseball camp is gonna be. Whoa. Whoa, that comment about my sex life is too far. I'm just joshing you. Oh, they were using a voice changer? I doubt it. It sounded like they were on their phone. Did I mention my next show with you guys? I didn't know if I could publish it yet, but I will if I can. That I'm gonna be on Talk Heathen on May 10th. Ooh, special announcement. This one time at baseball camp, it's scheduled on YouTube. Oh, wonderful! I need to pay more attention to that. Well, thank you. Yes, I will be on Talk Heathen on May 10th. I will be making plenty more announcements about it now. Because that means that you guys get to see my face on there again. So, I expect you all to be in attendance. And you're even welcome to bring a +1. Or a +2. Hell, if you've got 3 friends, bring them all. Go over, tell Mezzo hey, ask him how long baseball camp is gonna be. I will see you guys again tomorrow night. I forgot what day it was. The Atheist Community of Goat. Ooh, nice ring to it. I'll see you guys over on Mezzo's. Bye! YouTube is just us now. Thank you guys for watching. Go say hey to Mezzo on YouTube too. Go be good tube steaks, alright? Don't embarrass me.